Sonnet turns her face away before he can look too long. Quentin doesn't ask her to stop. He doesn't soften his voice either. She thinks that means pity is coming. He thinks this may be the last moment he's allowed to treat her like she never left. And love, right now, is deciding whether kindness will be mistaken for cruelty. The barn still smells faintly of old smoke when the wind shifts. Sonnet notices it before anyone else does. The land remembers what happened, even when people pretend not to. Sonnet Keegan has come home, knowing exactly what love might take from her now. The comfort of being looked at without calculation, the safety of being wanted without explanation. Quentin Westfall has wanted her for years, not loudly, not bravely, but steadily enough that leaving didn't cure it. When she returns, he greets her the same way he always has. No apologies, no careful glances, no softening of the truth between them. To him, that's respect. To Sonnet, it feels like a test she cannot pass, so she begins testing him first. She shortens her answers. She withholds warmth. She lets silence sit where gratitude should be. Quentin accepts every distance she puts between them, because pressing now would mean asking her to defend herself, and he refuses to be another reason she feels watched. What neither of them says is that she plans to leave again, and what Quentin doesn't yet understand is that every step back he takes sounds too much like permission. If love survives this, it won't be because they waited. It will be because one of them risks being wrong and loses the safety of staying quiet. Sonnet pauses at the gate, hand on the latch, listening to footsteps inside. The house smells of wood and soap. Lamplight pools on the floor. Nothing has been prepared for her return. She steps in anyway. Quentin looks up from the table. He stands. He waits for her to speak first. She doesn't. He nods once, the way he always did. Not careful. Not softened. "Evening," he says. The word lands clean. No pity rides it. No pause follows. Sonnet sets her bag down and keeps her face turned. She counts her breath. She expects him to look away. He doesn't move. He takes the kettle off the stove. Pour water into 2 cups, sets one near her hand. That's the first test. She doesn't take it. Quentin leaves the cup where it is. He sits back down. He waits again. Outside, a board creaks in the wind. Inside, the silence thickens. She forces herself to speak without turning. "I won't be staying." "I know," he says. The answer surprises her, not because it's sharp, because it's calm. She finally looks at him. Half a glance, enough to see he's meeting it straight. No apology waits in his face. No question, that's the second test. She wanted him to argue. Instead, he asks, "Are you hungry?" She shakes her head. He nods again. The cup cools between them. The lamplight doesn't flicker. Sonnet understands something she didn't expect. He is giving her exactly what she asks for. And the cost of that kindness settles in quietly, because love, offered without demand, can still be refused. Sonnet stands at the sink, scrubbing a cup already clean. Water runs too long. Wood creaks beneath her feet. She keeps her back to him. Quentin finishes tying the feed sacks by the door. He moves slowly. Not cautious, deliberate. She waits for him to say something kind, something unnecessary, something she can push away. Instead, he reaches for his hat. "You don't have to," she starts. He stops. Not mid-step, mid-breath. She feels the space open behind her, feels the chance to arrive. "I can manage," she says, sharper now. The words land harder than intended. Quentin sets the hat back down. Not gently, not angry. "I know," he says. That's not what she meant. She wanted corrections. She wanted reassurance disguised as an argument. She turns too fast. Her sleeve catches the edge of the table. Fabric pulls. The sound is small, but it fills the room. He looks at her then, all the way. Not quickly, not softly. She braces for the glance to slide away. It doesn't. His eyes hold, no narrowing, no flinch. Her hand lifts without permission, stops halfway to her face, drops again. "That fire," she begins. He steps back, just one pace, enough to give her room. "You don't owe me explanations," he says. That's the wrong mercy. It leaves nowhere to hide. She laughs once, short, bitter. "You always say the right thing," she tells him. He shakes his head, slow. "I say what won't make you leave faster." The truth lands between them, plain, unsoftened. Outside, footsteps pass along the road. A neighbor's voice carries, then fades. Sonnet feels the weight of being seen, not admired, recognized. She turns back to the sink, shuts off the water. When she speaks again, her voice is steady. "Then don't say anything else." Quentin picks up his hat. This time he leaves, and silence, once chosen, becomes the first thing she cannot take back. Sonnet pauses at the barn door, fingers tight on the worn wood. Dust hangs in the light. Leather creaks somewhere behind her. She knows he's there. Quentin is mending a strap at the far stall, head down, hands busy. She steps inside and lets the door shut loud. Too loud. He looks up. This time she doesn't turn away. She faces him fully. Still. Waiting. His gaze reaches her and stops. Not skimming. Not searching for what's missing. He nods once, goes back to the strap. That's not how this is meant to go. She crosses the barn, boots slow in the dust, stops close enough to be felt. "You can look," she says. The words hang, an offer, a challenge. Quentin doesn't lift his head. "I am," he answers. Her breath catches. Not because of the words, because of the calm. She takes another step. Too close now. "If you see what everyone else sees," she says. "Say it." He straightens, finally meets her eyes. "I see Sonnet," he says. Nothing more. That's the third test. She wanted a description. She wanted a difference. She laughs again. The sound scrapes. "Liar." Quentin's jaw tightens. Just enough. "I don't lie," he says. "And I don't argue facts you already decided." She feels heat rise. No shame, anger. "Then why do you keep standing there like this? Changes nothing." He steps back. Dust shifts under his boot. "Because if I change," he says, "you'll think I finally noticed." The words land heavy. Unavoidable. Outside, the wind rattles the loose tin. Inside, the space widens. Sonnet turns first. Not because she's won, because she can't afford to stay. Behind her, Quentin picks up the strap again. And for the first time, she understands. Every test she sets teaches him how to let go. Sonnet stops at the fence when she hears her name. Two women stand by the road. Fabric brushes their skirts. Dust lifts around their boots. "She's staying at the ranch," one says. "Did you see her face?" Sonnet doesn't move. She counts her breath. She lets the words finish without her. Quentin passes behind her carrying a bucket. He hears it too. He doesn't slow. "That fire ruined her," the other voice says. "Shame, really." Quentin sets the bucket down. Wood hits earth hard. "That's enough," he says. The women turn, surprised, offended. "She didn't ask you to speak," one says. Quentin doesn't look at Sonnet. He keeps his eyes where the road runs open. "I know," he answers, "but you didn't ask to judge." Silence snaps tight. The women leave. Footsteps retreat. Dust settles. Sonnet feels the moment press against her back. Public. Exposed. "You didn't have to," she says. Quentin lifts the bucket again. His knuckles are white. "I chose to," he says. "That's new. That's dangerous." She turns on him. "You'll make it worse." He stops, faces her. staying quiet already is, he says. The truth lands, sharp, not cruel, certain. She looks past him, down the fence line, wood worn smooth by years of hands. You don't know what it's like, she says. He nods once. I know what it costs. That's the first time he named it. The wind picks up, carries voices from town, carries consequence. Sonnet steps back. Distance returns to its place. Don't do that again, she says. Quentin hesitates, just long enough to matter. I can't promise, he says. She leaves him there, not because she's angry, because she's afraid. And the county learned something that afternoon. Love, once noticed, refuses to stay private. Sonnet holds the letter at the table, thumb pressed into the fold. Lamplight catches the edge, paper soft from handling. She hasn't opened it yet. Quentin comes in from the yard, dust on his boots. He stops when he sees the envelope. He knows what town letters look like. Are you expecting someone? He asks. She nods, once. It's from St. Louis, she says. That's the moment, the one she's been circling. Quentin sets his hat down. Not carefully, not careless. When? He asks. She opens the letter. Reads only the first line. Doesn't read it aloud. End of the month, she says. He exhales. Slow, controlled. That's soon. She watches his hands, how they rest flat on the table, how they don't reach. I told you I wasn't staying, she says. I remember, he answers. That's the problem. He always remembers. She waits for him to argue, to ask why, to ask who. He doesn't. Instead, he says, You'll need the wagon fixed. The words land heavier than any plea. You're helping me leave, she asks. He meets her eyes, holds them. I won't make it harder, he says. Her breath stutters, just once. That's all you have to say? Quentin looks away, toward the window, toward the dark yard. If I ask you to stay, he says, you'll hear it as mercy. She stands too fast. Chair legs scrape wood. You don't get to decide what I hear. He turns back then, voice steady. And you don't get to leave thinking I stood in your way. The silence after is loud, final. Sonnet folds the letter again. Careful, deliberate. She understands now. He is loving her the only way she's allowed him to, and by choosing not to stop her, he has made leaving feel permanent. Quentin kneels by the wagon wheel, wrench set against the bolt. Metal scrapes. Dust settles on his sleeves. He keeps working. Sonnet stands a few steps back, too close to leave, too far to help. She watches him tighten what doesn't need tightening, loosen it again, fix it anyway. You don't have to do this today, she says. I do, he answers. That's not about the wagon. She knows it. She steps closer. The earth shifts under her boot. You're acting like this is already done, she says. He pauses. Not long. You gave me a date, he says. That makes it real. She folds her arms. Fabric pulls across her shoulders. I could change my mind. He looks up then. Finally. You won't, he says. The certainty hurts more than doubt. How can you be so sure? She asks. Quentin stands, wipes his hands on his trousers. Because if you wanted me to stop you, he says, you'd have said it by now. The truth lands. Unsoftened, she feels the moment slipping, feels time leaning forward. I needed you to fight for me, she says. The words are out before she can pull them back. Quentin's breath leaves him slow, measured. And I needed you not to punish me for wanting you, he says. Silence stretches between them. Heavy, exactly. The wind moves dust along the fence line. Neither of them looks away. She takes a step forward. Stops. He reaches for the wrench, not her. That's the choice. Clear. Sonnet understands what she's done too late. Every test taught him where not to stand. When he kneels again, she knows the wagon will be ready, and the man fixing it will already be letting her go. Sonnet stops him at the gate, fingers closing around his sleeve. Fabric bunches. Her breath shortens. The moment finally breaks open. "Wait," she says. Quentin turns. Slow, careful not to pull free. She forces herself to face him fully. No turning, no shielding. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she says. He studies her. Not her face, her steadiness. "You said a leaving day," he says. "That's as far as it goes." The words are even. Practiced. "I was afraid," she says. He nods. "Once. I know." That's not comfort. It's an acknowledgement. She tightens her grip, steps closer. "I thought if you still wanted me," she says, "you'd say it." Quentin's jaw works. He looks past her toward the road. "I did say it," he answers. "Every day I didn't change." Her hand slips from his sleeve. "That wasn't enough," she says. "I know," he says again. The distance widens without either of them moving. She hears herself before she decides. "Stay tonight." The request hangs. Bare. Risky. Quentin exhales. Slow. Final. "If I stay," he says, "you'll leave believing I begged." "That's not true," she says. He meets her eyes then. Really meet them. "It will be to you," he says, "and I can't be loved that way." The gate creaks as he opens it. Wood on hinge. A sound she will remember. Sonnet steps back. Not because she agrees, because she understands. He passes through, doesn't look back. And for the first time, she realizes silence has chosen its side. Sonnet sits on the edge of the bed, hands flat on her knees. Morning light reaches the floor. Dust floats where she doesn't move. The house waits with her. The wagon stands ready outside. She saw it before dawn. Wheel straight, harness laid out. Quentin has finished everything. She listens for his steps. Listens past the quiet. Nothing comes. In town, voices rise and fall. A door closes. Life continues without pause. Sonnet stands and crosses the room, touches the back of a chair, doesn't sit. This is the test she never meant to set. Not for him, for herself. If she leaves now, it will be clean. No argument, no scene. If she stays, she will have to speak. She walks to the window, sees Quentin at the fence line, far enough to pretend he hasn't noticed her. He doesn't look up. That's the cost made visible. She steps outside. Footsteps slow on packed earth, each one deliberate. "Quentin," she calls. He turns. Not quickly. "I'm not going today," she says. The words stand between them, unprotected. He waits, doesn't fill the space. "I don't know if I can stay forever," she adds. "That's honest," he says. It's the first approval he's given her. She takes another step, then another. "I can't keep testing you," she says. "I don't want to." He nods. Small. "That changes things," he says. "Not enough. Not yet." The wind moves between them. Dust lifts, then settles. Sonnet understands the truth arriving late. Staying still is also a choice, and some choices demand a voice to survive. Sonnet stops beside the wagon, hand resting on the rail. Wood is warm from the sun. Leather straps lie ready. Nothing moves. Quentin stands a few paces away, close enough to hear her breathe, far enough to leave if needed. "You didn't ask me to stay," she says. He doesn't answer right away. His eyes stay on the ground. "I don't ask anymore," he says. That lands harder than blame. She steps closer. The distance shrinks to something dangerous. "I need you to know," she says. "I wasn't testing your love." He looks up then, slow, unconvinced. "I was testing whether I could survive it," she continues. The truth costs her. Her voice tightens. She keeps going. "When you didn't change," she says, I thought it meant you didn't see what I lost. Quentin shakes his head once. I saw, he says. I just refuse to let it be the only thing. Silence settles. Not empty. Weighted. She reaches out, stops herself halfway. If I stay, she says, I need you to believe I'm choosing you. And if I believe you, he says, I won't survive you leaving again. That's the fracture. Clear. Final. The wind presses dust against their boots. Neither steps back. Sonnet lets her hand fall, then lifts it again. This time, she takes his. The contact is brief, steady, real. I'm not asking you to trust me yet, she says. I'm asking you to stand here while I prove it. Quentin holds her hand a second longer, then release it. That's the price, he says. She nods, accepts it. Because love, once damaged, demands proof before comfort, and some wounds don't close until both people stay long enough to be changed. Sonnet stands at the fence as the sun lowers, hands resting on the rail. The earth cools beneath her boots. Breath moves steady in her chest. She doesn't turn away this time. Quentin approaches from the yard. No hurry. No distance claimed. He stops beside her. Close enough that their sleeves brush. Neither pulls back. The wagon remains where it is, unhitched, waiting for a future that didn't arrive. You stayed, he says. I did, she answers. That's all? No defense. No promise shaped too large. They watch the land together, fence line stretching, wind moving the grass. Sonnet lifts her chin. Not bravely, honestly. I won't make you ask, she says, and I won't leave without saying why. Quentin nods. The tension eases. Not gone. Accepted. I won't pretend it's simple, he says, and I won't pretend it won't hurt. She turns then, meets his eyes fully, unhidden. That's the part I'm choosing, she says. He studies her. Not measuring, recognizing. Quentin reaches out, stops just short. Tell me if I cross, he says. She closes the distance herself. Just enough. I will, she says. The contact comes quietly, his hand at her back. Warm, certain. No one watches. No one speaks. The fence holds. The land waits. What they begin is not forgiveness, not relief, not certainty. It is something harder. A way of standing still together and choosing every day not to walk away. If you love stories like this, you're welcome here. Subscribe if you want more Western romances. And if this story stayed with you, you can say so in the comments. I'll see it. I'm your narrator, John. Until the next road.